So, good evening to everybody. Uh, it's almost 5 now. High time for us to start our symposium. I welcome you all. This online symposium titled Engineer Your Research for Startup. Am I audible to everybody? Hope yes.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Great. Very nice. So, as I already shown to you on in my first slide, that today we will be meeting Dr. Vikas Karade. We will be actually our advisor that how exactly this particular theme should be made successful. But the first 15 minutes, I'll be just putting my remark as an opening remark, wherein I wish to rather tell you that why I thought to organize this online symposium. So I welcome to you all, and now I also wish that everybody is safe and taking care in this pandemic. Let me now start with our presentation. I hope most of you people have joined, and many of you will join in due course. So the first one is like why there is a need of research in academic institute. So if you see this particular slide, what I have written is that the teachers are everywhere now. If you look at the teaching in today's world of internet, think of the Swayam, think of EDX, think of MOOCs, e-learning, distance learning, and whatnot. So when teachers are everywhere, when a lot of information is available on the computer, then we are a bit confused that where is the place for this traditional teaching, where the teacher used to teach on the board and the student used to study, maybe writing the notes and all that. You know, in spite of having all e-learning resources, you find that in many developed countries, still this practice is maintained, that they are still using the blackboard, sometimes the slides, but teacher and student interaction is still happening. And we will see in due course of time that there is no alternative to this. Now, I hope everybody is aware of the online teaching and all that. So, there is no alternative to this type of so-called interaction. Interestingly, what you will find is that the teaching will be more effective if the research is done, is informed to the student during classroom teaching. Uh, the teaching, as I already mentioned it here, if the research is done or if the research is done by the teacher and if he informs to the student during the classroom, then that will become very effective. I think you have to unmute your mic. Those who are not muted the mic, see that it is muted. Let me check if I can. Yeah. So my experience of this Smart Foundry project, the research project, which presently we are executing here in Carcan Center at VNIT, I found that this is very effective, especially when I'm teaching casting to the UG students, and whatever the research knowledge I get it through this Smart Foundry related to the casting simulation, The students get excited when I inform them that this is what exactly is required to be done in case of casting. So, what you'll find is that the teaching becomes really very effective if you do some research. Let me show you this interesting point here. Like, once you involve the teaching learning, maybe that leads to knowledge. Then knowledge leads to what? This is more important. What exactly we are rather look at the knowledge. So here it will be of more interest to show me another interesting slide wherein you'll find that the knowledge I have rather shown as a two type of the knowledge. One is the low end knowledge, another one is the high end knowledge. Now I have just written the low end as a graduation and high end as a post graduation or the PhD or the research. Low end doesn't mean that it is the knowledge which is to be counted below the high end knowledge and all that. Just to differentiate between that what exactly the knowledge we impart to the students and the knowledge that leads to research. And that's why I mention it in the two category: low end leading to the graduation, high end leading to post graduation and the PhD research. Now, when you focus only on the low end knowledge, what happens? The more and more graduates turn out. All these graduates then ultimately look at the traditional industries for the job. Jobs available with such industries are less. Hopefully, that leads to the jobless graduates, and ultimately, you will find that the graduates turning out, they rather go on hunting the job, and finally, the whole system, especially in education system, gets disturbed. The major reason for that is that the traditional industries are finding it very difficult to create more jobs. Whatever the jobs they have already in existence, they may maintain that number, but more numbers of jobs means more resources, which they may not be having, and ultimately that leads to the problem, especially when you focus on low end knowledge. So there is a need to focus on high end knowledge, that is research. What exactly we are looking at? When you focus on high end knowledge or the research, then that means it is a research or some innovation. Nowadays, the manufacturing industries, they are customer centric, wherein innovation and comfort to the customer, that plays the dominant role. And we need to rather look at this: if the research help us in creating more jobs, we should rather look at the high end knowledge, and that's what exactly we are focusing our attention on. Let me tell you some additional thing to what exactly the need of the research in academic institute. As I have mentioned it here in this particular slide in a highlighted one, the research adds value to teaching as exposure to students to the state of the art facility. I can quote you the examples of the CARICAM Center, which we have running in VNIT. We do have the facilities in CARICAM Center with the state-of-the-art machineries like bioplotter, rapid prototyping machines, and so on and so forth. You'll find that these machines are unique in the sense it helps the students to think of research, think of innovation. One of the machine that we do have, 3D bioplotter, there are only two installations in India. One is in IIT Kharagpur, another one is at VNIT. So, the students get an exposure to such state-of-the-art facilities. What is our success? That we have run the new subject called layer manufacturing. We have established a research lab called tissue engineering. Around 11 PhDs are turned out through these CAD/CAM center. And the more important for me to tell you is the point number 4, the 3 startups as an R&D project spin-off. The extension of PhD works. If you visit the websites of the company, Oco Eye Care Solutions, Research and Dical Private Limited, hope you have already watched the video clip which I sent it on the brochure. Actually, this prompted us to think of that once you enter into this domain of extending the research, maybe the PhD work, to get the startup, then startup is the right platform where you'll find that more and more jobs gets created. And that's actually helped me, or rather that instigated me to think of this online symposium. I cannot rather resist my temptation to show you the same figure which we have already showed it on the brochure. The research that matters, the pasture cotton. I hope you people must have already seen it in the web or the net. So the figures talks about PhD leading to research, or research leading to patent, or patent leading to PhD, and all of them together, one after the other. But ultimately, everything should stop at startup. So we want the people to be the job creator and not a job seeker. Let me tell you an interesting point here about the idea translation or the translation research. The idea to prototype, which we may call it as the research, is a small value where the design and prototyping is plays the major role. Then prototype to product, it's a development, somewhat deep valley, wherein the pilot batch and testing what is required to be executed. And then finally a large value where you'll find that the product to the market, that is an application. Now what is interesting here is that the some people are just so you will find that the research to development, development to application. Now, this is very interesting that your research should be translational research, or your ideas should be sellable in the market. What we look at it, that it is around 60% work at the research side, with maybe 30% at the development side, and maybe 10% for the application side. That is what we always think about when we actually work in an academic institute. Interestingly, this is opposite. It's only 10% research, 30% towards the development, and 60% towards application. So whatever the efforts you have put in, 6 times of that you have to put it to see that your research is sellable. And there lies the importance of what is called as the startup. So if we are doing so much of work as far as the research is concerned, let us see that how best it is sellable. I have seen many PhD students, those who have published very good papers through their PhD research work, but finally landing into a job wherein they don't find any interest. Whatever they are done during the PhD, hardly of any use to them. And when they have done the research, nice work, why these people are not getting benefited, why the society is not getting benefited. That's what exactly we'll have to look at. You know, this is an interesting university, techniques university in Berlin. In 2019, one of my close relative, he sent me, he visited the Berlin and he sent me the flyer, and that prompted me to look at the PhD project the way that is shown. What is mentioned is yes, how much startup is in your PhD project. That was during the PhDs, those who are registering, they just would like to run this type of the workshop. And I got it excited. I said, yes, that's what exactly should be the motto when we guide the PhD, when we ask the students to go for the PhD work. And the students should find their PhD work more interesting because they will be landing up in the corporate world later on. So Berlin, it's Germany, and that's why we say that we should follow the developed country. That's what our honorable president said. Past President Abdul Kalam have said that we need to change our status from developing to the developed, and that's why I have mentioned that particular Sanskrit shloka there. The last line of it, it shows that Mahajano yena gato sapantaha. So we need to say bye bye to developing country and hello to the developed India. And we wish, or rather, we want the students entering into the research should be the job creator and not the job seeker. Let me show you quickly the basic VNIT slide, which I have shown it in the form of a tree. So we will be, this basic VNIT is like a tree where the students and innovators are just coming, sitting on our tree, working hard to see that the flowers come out of the tree, which we call it as a startup. And these flowers then lead to the fruits, which we have said the innovative medical devices, because presently we are working in the innovative medical devices under the BETIC project. But that is actually the system that we are creating for medical devices, which we'd like to rather make it open for all the disciplines and all the areas. And you know, the once the fruits are ready, it shows the Atmanirbhar Bharat ladder. You should climb that ladder, pick up the fruit, and enjoy that fruit to make the whole society happy. This is what exactly what we can show pictorially. Our work at Betik VNIT. We would like to expand this tree much more. But you know, all this is possible when you have sun with you, and that is Betik IIT Bombay. So Betik IIT Bombay is helping us a lot. Under their guidance, we will be rather working in this field. So thank you very much for your patience hearing, and it's time for us to enter into the another part of our present session. So let me show you here the photograph of a person who is shaking hand with the Prime Minister of India. He has earned the credentials to such a level that the Prime Minister shook hand with him. And he is Dr. Vikas Karade. We are lucky enough to call him at VNIT in 17 November 2015. He delivered a talk in VNIT, a very interesting, young and dynamic personality. So this Vikas Karade, who is the founder and CEO of Algosar, Hope you people must have already seen the website, which I have already displayed it on the brochure also. Let me introduce Vikas. Very interesting introduction. Y Combinator backed startup company founder, 10 plus years of experience in surgical visualization and automation. Technology inventor awarded by the President and PM of India, as well as many world renowned institutions. I know even MIT has also in the picture. We take masters and PhD from IIT Bombay and sponsored and selected candidate for short entrepreneurship training from B schools of Cambridge and Stanford. Speaker at many reputed national and international invited events like TEDx. Enthusiastic to team up with passionate thinkers to build innovation and leadership for the better future of surgery. We are lucky to have Dr. Vikas with us. Let us hear Vikas and his company through some video. Okay, I'll be just switching off the system for nice hearing at your end. So let me change that to motion video. Okay, then now here. Okay, and I'll be just showing you video. Hopefully you will enjoy that. Yeah.
Hello everyone, I'm Vikas, he's Amit, and we are founders of AlgoSurge. At AlgoSurge, we make software for surgeons to plan bone surgeries. A typical bone surgery plan includes measurements and steps which surgeons follow in the surgery to get accurate patient outcome. But this is how they plan the surgery. Guess what's wrong? Well, any two-dimensional measurement on such a plain X-ray never matches with an actual surgery which is in three dimension. In fact, many critical measurements cannot be even made on this X-ray. Inaccurate and insufficient measurements means inaccurate plan, and that leads to unsuccessful surgery. Surgeons also waste a lot of time doing trial and error because of these inaccuracies. So, to solve this problem, we made TapPlan 3D, our web-based software where surgeon can plan surgeries in 3 dimensions with more accurate measurements leading to successful surgery. And the automatic features which we build in the software save surgeons a lot of time. Not only this, to get this 3D model, we do not need any extra imaging. The plain X-ray, already available X-ray will do the job. Wow. Now, we are mechanical engineers and PhDs from IIT Bombay, attended more than 60 surgeries to understand this problem. And now, we are excited to announce that in the last 2 months, our software was used in real human surgeries. That's the surgeon using our software to plan a surgery, and here he is executing the plan on real human. The results were so outstanding that there are more surgeries now lined up. Now, this is big, but the future we are working on is even bigger. Our software are based on algorithms that simulate surgeries. They get trained when surgeon uses the software. And the same algorithms can be used by robots tomorrow to perform a real surgery. Robotics is the future of surgery, which we are empowering. So here we are, making 3-dimensional surgery planning software, already used in real human surgeries. And yes, we are going to sell in India very soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So maybe one more video I would like to show.
The AlgoSurge team are working on a system to help surgeons to plan surgery. They've created software that's learned to create a 3D model of bones from just 2 two-dimensional X-rays.
I can imagine after a lot of experience, a bone, if I just look at an X-ray, I can imagine it in 3D. Can we do the same thing with computers? A surgeon can do it because he has learned a lot of correlation between X-ray image and a 3D bone, which you see during the surgery. So we use the same logic to develop the software. We have a machine learned algorithm which has learned the 3D shape of bones across the population. So we have created a lot of 3D models from CT scan, and we use this as a kind of database, and we create an algorithm to understand that database in a very particular way to predict a 3D model from X-ray image.
These 3D models also allow for tools and guides to be designed to the patient's specific dimensions. For example, if a surgeon was preparing to cut and realign legs.
We have this patient-specific instrumentation which uses the bone surface in 3D, and it is like a negative of the 3D bone surface. So if you make that part and print it in 3D and put it on the real bone, it will exactly fit in a very unique fashion. So what we do is we use that concept to cut, to make surgeon cut more accurately. So this part will be exact fit on the bone, but it will also have a slit which will be aligned with the cutting plane. So that slit can be used during the surgery to guide a cutting tool.
2 X-rays are, of course, cheaper than a full 3D CT or MRI scan. And once again, it means that patients can be assessed who can't get to a fully kitted.
So I hope you have enjoyed the videos. Let me now. Yeah. So after hearing Vikas and about his company and the very nice work that he has done, let us welcome Vikas. Vikas, welcome. Can you hear me? 1 minute. I hope.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Yeah. Thank you for the introduction and the videos. Yeah. Sorry for the little modified accent, but it was an old video, 3-4-year-old video.
No problem.
So,
I enjoyed it.
Thank you for the introduction.
And we are rather welcoming you with the flowers, which are full of nectar. That you can see the honeybee standing there. So it will be nice to rather see you here in this particular online symposium. Because we are really happy to have you as a resource person in our online symposium.
Sure.
What you had just said, that the surgical planning is possible because of your software and because of your, that's what is the product. One of my colleague who is a very good orthopedic surgeon, he said to me many times that the surgical planning is more important than the actual surgery. He said that if the surgical planning is well, then the surgery is not a big issue. And that's what exactly you have done it. Wonderful. Very congratulations for your nice work, and the society is getting benefited. So
there's a long way to go, but
yeah. But we are sure that it is definitely going to do that. Because let us start with the happy moments everywhere. Because the positive environment always creates the positive thoughts. So let me ask you the first interesting thing from you. Please tell us the happiest moment in your career as a founder, CEO, or entrepreneur.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had the questions, but I just thought that I will answer it right then, because then it will just come as genuine answer. So I haven't thought about all that. But yeah, I think the most happiest moment was just before the startup. When it was year 2015, we started this company in 2016, and in 2015, at the same year, I met former President APJ Abdul Kalamji, and we had a really great interaction with him and IIM Ahmedabad. And in the same year, then I won an award by President, and they got me into President House. I was staying there 2 weeks and interacting with a lot of great personalities. In the same year, then I won this India Innovation Growth Program. In fact, I was the first ranker there, and then they sent me to Silicon Valley. So in the same year, a lot of things happened, and that was the happy. as a startup founder, I think the happiest moment is actually now, because it's now because that you feel happy when there is a long gap between sadness and happiness. So it was a long gap between last year sadness and this year happiness. So last year was very bad, or in fact very good, that we've had to work very hard to reach some good level now. So now we funding and a lot of opportunities, and we can also see where we are going at the growth phase. So I think now is the happiest time. Yeah.
Okay. Well, nice to hear. It seems that you have not only one moment, but the more and more moments, happy moments in your career.
Yeah, so
Uh,
it goes up and down all the time. In 2018, we were selected by Y Combinator. That was also one of the happiest moments. So
yeah,
it goes up and down. Yeah.
that's true. When any individual gets so many prizes, which one is the best prize is very difficult to say. Exactly in the same way, I have seen that. Yes, you have so many credentials with in your.
I think more than winning the prizes, it's the happiness for overcoming the challenges. So last year we had really great challenges, and we overcome
I
most of
hope
them.
I will
So
come to
the
that.
most
Yeah,
happiness is actually because of that. Yeah.
yeah, sir, that's a very nice, very nice. So, uh, Vikas, just wish to just ask you about the interesting thing what Steve Jobs has said. He said that because his customers did not know what they wanted until he showed it to them. Do you think it is true that the people do not really know what they want?
Well, so it's in the different context. It's in different context. So this question I had even before becoming an entrepreneur, and
Oh,
I used to attend these talks, and people used to talk about market pull and technology push. Market pull is something where customers tell you what to do. I was
yeah,
in Y Combinator. They have a motto that make something people want, right? So everyone, it's about what customer want to make it. So it's very true that if you make something that customer wants, you will never fail. I mean, you may fail because of other reasons, but from the idea point of view, from your solution point of view, you're going right if your customer is guiding you what to make. However, what Steve Jobs is very right, and I believe in it, and in two ways. One is that what happens is customers' expectations not always match with what you can make. So when Steve Jobs was creating computers, nobody had computers, and we couldn't even imagine what computers could do. But Steve Jobs could imagine what his technology can do. So what they really do, what he really mean by that is, if I'm understanding correctly, is
yeah,
if you're smarter, and Steve Jobs kind of people are one in millions. He himself used to tell that most of the people around you are stupid, right? So I'm
yeah,
not that rude, but it's right that if you're very smart, then you can exceed the expectation of customers, and you can show them what they can't think of, and that's the reason he's saying that most people do not know what they want. But there is another context to it. If you look at Elon Musk,
yeah, yeah,
he's making something which people don't even need,
yeah,
right now.
yeah, yeah,
If you ask
yeah,
anyone in the world, how many of you want to go to Mars right now, and nobody want to go to Mars, right?
yes,
But he's still making it because 50 years or 100 years from now, people would have to go to Mars or take resources from the Mars, and he's making something for them. And nobody right now can tell that this is what we will need tomorrow. So that is another context where people may not be telling you what they really want or what they really need. And as an entrepreneur or out of box thinker or as an innovator, you can make what they can't even think.
yeah. No, maybe during your experience of making this particular product and AlgoSearch, do you
Sure.
really feel that the some doctors
Yes.
are not actually understanding what exactly they
So
want, and that's
yeah. So what I say? So we come in the middle. We come in the middle of Steve Jobs philosophy and Elon Musk philosophy, right? So we are not thinking for 50 years or 100 years, but we're
yeah,
definitely thinking about 5 years or 10 years. When we
yeah,
talk about robotic surgery or completely automated surgery, then
yeah,
no patient would like to do that. If I ask a patient that if I keep you in an operating table and just a robot there operating on you completely, no patient will go into that hospital. So people don't want it.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Surgeons get afraid of it. That surgeons think that it can't happen. They think that the intuition and experience they have, you can't replace that with machine. So definitely they think that this is not possible or this is not happening. Complete automation is not happening, but we think that it has to happen, where patients will require not only surgery done, but surgery done at the highest quality. Right now when you do two knee replacements,
Yeah.
nobody measures which knee replacement is better. But tomorrow patients will like to have their knee replacement at the highest level, and only robot automation can do all these things. So yes, in that scenario, we think that sometimes surgeons may not we agree with what we can make. But at the same time, I would say that we are lucky to have customers like surgeons. We are not making something for college kids or school kids, or we are making something not like college kids are not smart, but we are making something for surgeons who are actually very intellectual. They are intellectual not only in their medical domain, but they also understand a lot of mechanics and geometry and kinematics. So in that way, our customers are very smart. But yes, in sometimes many people don't accept the future which we want to create.
Yeah. Very nice. Thank you, Vikas, for a very nice answer. Let me tell you about this particular thing. If you look at the picture, the one who is in the second, he is the first. So what I had written is like a totally untested and a new idea carries the most risk, and very few of those succeed. Studies consistently show more than half will fail, some will survive, and few will be tear away success. Someone who starts second is maybe 75% less likely to fail. Do you accept this philosophy of be second first?
No, not really. No, I don't accept it. So what happens is these philosophies or these numbers that 75% will fail. These are all retrospective analysis by statisticians. They see what happened so far and they just analyze it. But startups and innovations and disruption is not about following a rule. It's always out of box. So these kind of rules can be applied inside the box, but outside the box these things doesn't apply. What can happen is tomorrow one guy will come and make everybody wrong. There are people who say that single co-founder or single founder company do not succeed, but tomorrow there can be people who will be single founder and make $1 billion company, and suddenly they will disrupt the idea. So in innovation, research, science, startup, entrepreneurship, no rules really apply. And in fact, I would like to tell you that even if you think that you're first or second or third,
Yeah.
you'll be most likely 10th or 100th, because what happens at around the world, there's always somebody is working in the same area which you are working.
Yes.
There are 9 other people who must be working in what you're working. So it doesn't matter your first, second. The moment you get the idea, the moment you got the passion, you just carry it on.
Yeah. Let me tell you my experience,
Sure.
with the scaffold fabrication for the bone replacement. The material that we are used for the scaffold fabrication is an HA, hydroxyl you must be knowing it.
Okay.
It is already approved. And therefore, it is possible for us to use it for the patient specific scaffold fabrication and
Yeah.
even implant it in the animals for trials. Even
Right.
the live case studies are also possible for us in the patient. So
Yeah.
thus being second in use of approved material help us
Uh-huh.
to enter into the new domain of tissue engineering. I
Sure.
look
Sure.
it from this angle. So what is
That's
your
a great angle. Yeah,
thought?
it's one way to look at it. The other way to
Yeah.
look at it is probably you could invent HA, and you would be the first
Yeah.
in the world to
Then that, but
bring HA to
yeah,
the world.
yeah, yeah. I think because see, getting an approval from the ethical committee and all that, everything was very
Sure.
easy for us because
Sure,
HA
sure.
was
It's
already
about the
approved.
risk you take. It's about
Yeah.
the level of success you want to have. So yeah, but I believe that the people who invented and got approval of HA first, they are also equally great, and you people who are using it are equally great. So it's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing to be there, no matter your first or second. Yeah, but
Maybe
be there. Yeah.
yeah, I think so. It may not apply in all situations, but
Sure, sure.
sometimes it applies. That's what we can say.
Probably.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
nice. Yeah. Uh, uh, Now another very interesting question, rather which you or must be experiencing. Like family and friends are an extremely important source of help and support. They are not able to give you impartial advice. When they see you fail, they hate to see you get hurt, and so would rather that you stop. How to handle the family and faith as an entrepreneur?
Yeah. So first of all, let me reduce 50% of your worry is don't care about friends. Okay. So care about family. Yeah. So there are no friends. So currently, these 150 or how many, I don't know how many participants are there. They know very well.
Yeah.
There's the definition of friend itself is very tricky, So the people who are helping you in your growth and the people you can help in their growth, those consider them as your friends. The rest is just waste of time. So don't worry about someone else that what you should do, right? Of course, about family you have to worry. If you go to Western culture, the kids get separated from family at 16 or 17 age, and that's why they are the countries where people take most of the risk. But in our culture, it's different, and we should respect that. What can you do is, first of all, when your family really loves you, they will let you do. I mean, the people it's a definition of love. If you love someone, you let them go. So if family really loves you, they will trust you. They will let you do what you want. Uh, but you still have to kind of take care about worries. So what happens is, imagine you want to kind of climb a mountain, and the worry is that you can fall down anytime and probably break your bones. Now, if you bring your family while you're climbing the mountain, that's the big problem, right? So never bring your family when you're climbing the mountain. That's the one thing.
Yes.
But the
Yes.
second
Yes.
thing is, it's not only about family, it's about your worries also. You also worry that if I climb there, yeah, I may fall down. And that is the most important thing. If you're not worried, family will not be worried. Trust me on this. So how you should not be worried while taking the risk. My method is creating a safety net. What is safety net? What it means is, when you're climbing the mountain, at every milestone, you're creating a safety net. So even if you fall, you will fall at that height very safely. And because of that safety net, you even tend to take more risk and go even higher. If you apply the same thing in your career, it happens the same way. For example, when I was doing engineering, I created my first safety net by getting into IIT, right? So I knew that, okay, even if I don't do a job, I will get something. But that's a very small safety net. But after that, when I joined PhD,
Yes.
I was doing PhD, and uh, suddenly I realized that my PhD is doing very well. I was getting awards, certifications, and I realized that even if I extend my PhD and explore this startup thing, what would happen? I will fall down to PhD level. I will become a professor somewhere or do postdoc. So I then took more risk, and started the company. When I started the company, then I was not worrying about too high. I was just thinking that, okay, projects which will be funded by government, the experience which I will get, the research I will do, it will help me a lot, that I will become a professor at better position, or I will I will get a better job, right? So why not take this risk? I did that, and I created that safety net. And then I thought, okay, let's take it even more better. Let's make it an international. So I went to Y Combinator and US. So every time you find success, and every time then you create a safety net, and then you take a risk from there. Now, when you share this idea to your parents, they will also understand that kid will be fine. That the son or daughter will be fine.
Yeah.
Let them take the risk. The most they will fall is to their next big safety net. So that's how you can reduce your own worries and worries of your family.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, the about the friends and the relative.
Yeah. Sorry for
Actually,
that friend comment. Yeah.
no problem. I generally look at this word relative from this angle, that the person with whom you are related. So I think even friends are also relative. We'll say that, okay, we are related to them as a friend. So maybe they are also relative. So hopefully, I think friends also contribute a lot. That's what I feel.
If they do, of
Yes.
course, that's what I said, that people who
Yeah.
contribute in your life, in your growth, and you contribute in their life, those are your friends. But
Yeah.
nowadays the definition of friends is very skewed. That's why you need to be really worried about who you're calling friend, and who you are really worrying about.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because see, ultimately, when we actually enter into this domain as an entrepreneur, I think
Yeah,
you need somebody with whom you can open up your
exactly,
heart and say
exactly,
that this is what has happened, what to do now. I
exactly.
I need some help from you, maybe as advice or whatever it is.
Yeah.
In
So
such
those are your
scenario,
friends. Exactly.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's what
The
exactly
people
is required.
who you grow with, those are your friends. I consider my friends as my co-founder, my people who I work with, my
Yeah,
the surgeons. They are great friends. I work with Dr. Mangal Parihar, Manish Agarwal. They are great friends.
yeah,
They
yeah,
help you
yeah,
in
yeah.
personal
That's
life
right.
also. So that's how you need to worry about those friends. Yeah.
Yeah, because we can't open up our heart to the relatives or say to our mother or maybe grandfather saying that this has happened, what to do. They all of a sudden they get scared. Oh,
Scared.
what to do then do?
Sure.
And then they disturb us. That's how exactly. But anyhow, I like the
Yeah.
way you told about the safety net to create so that if they are informed well in advance, this is how the safety net I'm creating and going up and up. So I think that really helps. Yeah, very nice. Um, the another interesting point is, as you said, you have faced a challenging situation in your career as an entrepreneur, and how did you handle such situation?
Oh, yeah,
Anytime
many
that,
challenging situations. The
yeah,
latest one was again the last year was very challenging. So what happened is in 2019,
yeah,
we planned a big clinical trial for one of our products, and we were about
okay,
to raise funding for that. But suddenly
okay,
this lockdown came, and we couldn't do any clinical trial. We couldn't raise the funds, and a lot of other problems happened. So then my co-founder Amit, he was worried about his financial situation. uh,
yes,
uh, I had some personal problems and some relationship related problems. So a lot of problems happen at once in a single time.
okay,
But what happened is uh, that makes you more stronger. That makes you think more. So one night I was just thinking, let's use our strength and let's see what we can do. So next day I worked Amit and we together. Amit is my co-founder, and
yeah, yeah,
started discussing what are our strengths. Forget about what's the situation. What are our strengths? Our strength was there to create the software. So we decided let's make something using this, which doesn't need clinical trial, which doesn't need FDA. What can we make? And we suddenly realized that let's make surgical training modules. Training modules do not need FDA. Training modules do not need much of clinical trial,
yes,
and we can make it using the same simulation technology. So we just started making it aimlessly, just because there is a lot of time. We are locked up in the house, so just started making it, and opportunities keep coming. Many surgeons then said that, oh, I would like to contribute in that. This is a great project.
yes,
There was a competition by Intuitive Surgicals, which is a US company, Silicon Valley company,
yes,
who made Da Vinci robot. The first
yeah,
robotic
yeah,
surgeon of the world. They suddenly started a competition of creating a surgical module, the exact same thing which we were making. So we applied in the competition. By December, we won the competition. Now we have funding, partner, and everything. So and a great goal for the next 2 years.
yeah,
So that's
yeah,
how it happens. You convert your challenges at the challenging time. You think even harder and count on your strengths and make a plan of what you can do for the next 2 years. And if you're really working hard on that, a lot of opportunities just open.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. But really, handling this such situation, you definitely need courage, and that too when you are actually working in the product which is related to the medical
Yeah.
domain.
Yeah.
So
For medical device, it's really difficult because what happens is, and that is something which everyone has to worry when they are going to facilitate medical medtech entrepreneurs. The biggest
yeah,
problem in medical device is that compared to other tech startup is that there is a very long time period of just research, clinical trial, and FDA. And
yeah,
any investor, if they want to put funding in the company, even when the medical technology is great, they will still choose the other technology startup or non-technical startup because it will save their years of time, and they can make money very easier in other companies. So this is something which medical device startup has to go through for years. It can be 5 years, 6 years, no revenue, no product. So it's very
yeah,
tough and difficult to be in medical device startup.
yeah. But we need more and more startup in the medical domain
Sure,
or
sure.
in
And that is where, so in this challenge, the challenge which I talked about, this is the
yeah,
challenge which a center like Betic or
yeah,
any startup incubator can help in. That's the contribution, specific contribution they can make.
yeah.
Probably we'll talk more about that. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. That's, one interesting thing that I hope you will generally agree. That do you feel that the starting a business has completely changed your life, and you are grateful that you do not have to work every day in a job that you hate?
Well, sure, yeah. So I'm very grateful to be in whatever I do. Uh, Not because I hate job or something. Yes, I can't do job, but I don't want to discourage people who want to have a job. It's all right if unless you're unhappy, don't do it. Do things where you're happy. So, but I'm grateful to be in research because this work gives me a lot of passion and purpose. That's the reason I'm very helpful. What happens is many people in this world, in fact, today's kids, they think that long. So they've been present, chill in life, things like that.
Yeah.
They think that they should not have any passion or purpose. That's what they think.
Yeah.
What I think is, when you grow old, the first thing you will ask yourself is, what are you passionate about and what have you done so far?
Yeah.
And then it will be too late.
Yes.
So it's very good to have passion and purpose, but I want to tell you one more thing, that no one is entitled to have a passion or purpose, and no one has to have a passion and purpose and then do something great. It's actually the other way around. You have to do something to experience the passion and purpose. The passion is an experience of doing something great, and when you want to continue having that passion, then you create a purpose. And for that, all you need to do is just get out of your comfort zone. You have to stop saying that I want to chill in life, or I don't want to have a purpose. You have to just start doing something out of the box, something risky, and there will be one thing which you will be very passionate about, and then you will love to continue that passion, and that is where you will find a purpose for next few years. And I feel lucky, or I feel grateful, because my work let me have a passion in it, and my work gave me some purpose. At least I know that what I will be doing next 2 years, and I'm excited about where it will take me in next 2 to 5 years. Uh, so yeah, I'm grateful for having Algo.
No, and interestingly, as you are working in the medical product, the satisfaction that you get it when you find that the patient is getting benefited,
Yeah,
doctor is getting benefited. I think
yeah.
that gives you more
That
satisfaction than
yeah. So exactly, yeah. That is another thing that is very specific to medtech. I was talking from
yeah,
general purpose point of view. Purpose can be a startup, a research, or even traveling around the world. But from medtech
yeah,
point of view, yes, this is one extra thing which will make you feel very satisfied when you work with great intelligent customers. Your customers are surgeons who are one of the intelligent people in the world, and when you
yeah,
work with them and when they are thankful to work with you, it feels great, it feels privileged. And when any
yeah,
patient get treated, then it's
yeah,
even better. Then it feels like you're not running a business, you're running an NGO. So you get
yeah.
kind of both kind of satisfaction, the financial and lot of blessings from people. So it's great to work in medtech startup.
Yes, yes, yes. That's true. Because your product is based on your research at PhD, and we are proud of your success as a young entrepreneur. I'm happy to inform you that in this symposium, nearly half of the audience are either PhD holder or pursuing their PhD. Many of them are postgraduate. They will be also entering into in the PhD program, and they will join PhD. So, what
Yeah.
will be your advice to PhD supervisor and PhD student considering
Wow.
this
Yeah.
symposium? Engineer
Yeah.
your research
Yeah.
for startup.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
using this engineer as a verb here.
Yeah. Well, this is something where Professor Ravi has been great,
Yes,
and
yes,
I
yes,
give his example.
yes,
Even if there is a media interview, I talk about him. It's it's
yes,
it's 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 because of him I could actually do a lot of things, and he didn't do anything complicated. Let me just tell you, if you think that he acquired something great things from here and there and needed to learn that, no, he didn't do much complicated. The only thing he did is give freedom to the people who have great intentions. So the advice to the students is to have great intention while having PhD or research. uh, uh, Someone was talking about the kind of research should be done. Should it be applied research or core theoretical research? And people say that it should be applied research and everyone should be motivated. I don't really think so. I think every kind of research is important. It's the problem with the researcher, when they do research with the wrong motivation, because they want to finish the PhD. when they want
Yes.
to get into research because it's not an option. This is the problem. So the right person should have a right motivation when they get into the research, and the facilitator or the professor supervisor, all they have to see is if the person has a right intention, just set them free. And I remember one of the very nice incident I would like to share. I never shared it with anyone,
Yes.
between me and Professor Ravi. So Professor Ravi started. He has his own startup, a very good startup, AutoCast or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he applied to this competition called India Innovation Youth Program in 2012, and he showed us that he won it, and he was like 15th or 16th rank in it, and he showed us all the things, and I got very excited because of that, and he showed me the whole book of the program, what it was, and I got very motivated. When I started my company, in fact before that, in 2015, I also applied to the same award, and I got first rank, you
Yeah.
know. And I was
Great.
kind of shy to tell professor that the competition which you were in 15th, I was the first rank. I was shy. What professor did is he called everyone and told himself to everyone that, you know what, there was a competition which I was in 15th rank, because is first rank in that. So this is a kind of attitude a
Yeah.
professor should have for a student, to make them, to let them free and enjoy their own success and find their own path. And professor's job is just to guide. He didn't even much tinkered with my PhD.
Yeah.
He didn't. He just tried to check that whether I have a right attitude while doing a PhD. He didn't go into more of the technical details anytime. So this is the kind of things which a professor and student both have to do. I think if Professor Ravi was here, he could tell much better than me that how
Yeah,
a
that's true.
PhD
That's true.
research program should happen.
I had to
Yeah.
organize a separate symposium only
Yeah,
with
yeah,
Professor
yeah.
Ravi.
Because I'm the beneficiary, but he's the one who gives those benefits. So I think he's the right one to talk about it.
Yeah. No, what I generally feel looking at this particular question is
Yeah,
that the PhD students, right from the beginning, they are
yeah.
always in mind that they have to publish the research
Huh,
paper
yeah,
based on the
yeah, yeah,
work, and
yeah,
they
yeah,
don't look at the sellability of their research. And that's
yeah,
what
yeah, yeah.
exactly kills the whole motto of the
Exactly, yeah.
PhD.
So that's the
Then,
problem in intention. Yeah, that's the
yeah.
problem in intention while you're trying to do PhD, and that has to be right. Yeah,
I think in the educational institute, the ecosystem needs to be created wherein the whosoever joins the PhD or whosoever completes the PhD, I think the first thing anyone should ask, okay, so are you starting any company based on your research? Or rather than the people go on asking how many research papers you have published and then maybe numbers going in 10, 15, and so many other parameters, I think that kills the motto. And ultimately, what I realized that the many PhD students, as I already mentioned in my opening remarks also, that after doing wonderful work, they find their position very, very awkward when they don't find a good job. And I have seen many people, they enter into the academic institute teaching to the first year or second year students and slowly forgetting everything, whatever they have gathered as a high in knowledge at the PhD level. So I hope this thing needs to be looked at properly. Uh, so nice, Vikas, for a very interesting, rather interaction with you. Now, the very important point for the for you, because the next 10-25 minutes, whichever way you want, you can just rather explain or rather opine, as I have mentioned here, the same thing. Research needs to be defined as the one which is deployable rather than setting the goal of publishing the research paper and hopefully getting the PhD. In the brochure of this workshop, partial quadrant is shown, which is more appealing. So will you please opine on how the ecosystem is to be created in the Institute of Higher Learning, where focus will be on the job creation? Because this is very important for us. Because we are now constructing the Betics VNIT
yeah,
center here,
yeah,
wherein we would like to create such ecosystem in this part of so India, maybe the central India, and if we are successful, just like you drop a stone in the center of the lake and that ripples pass on to the whole leg like that. If you can do it, I think it will be wonderful. So we will like to know from you, and the next 10-15 minutes are only we would
Sure.
like to listen to you. Yeah.
So yeah, so there are always two sides. I will first talk about the first side. So we are mentioning pasture quadrant. That quadrant is about the kinds of research. One side you do research like very theoretical, which has a knowledge relevance, and one is applicable, like application relevance, like
Edison
Edison has
called.
to,
Yeah,
used to do.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I personally believe that both are important. What happens is sometimes there are a lot of research which do not have immediate application, but it gets applications when once it gets matured in later time. For example, right now there is a lot of research going on in quantum science. It has been going on since last 50 years. Now there are people who are trying to find the application in quantum computation, quantum uh, 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 securities and everything. So both kinds are important. But what is most important is taking the research, pushing the research towards the final use. Even if it is done 50 years back, one should always keep checking, keep updating themselves about that and find application every time. And that's what institutions like NASA and everyone does. So that is one part. Second is first of all, by the way, I have no problem with job seekers. You create jobs because there are job seekers. If there are no job seekers, then who you will create jobs for? So
Yeah.
focus should be on job creation to make the balance.
Yes.
Make the balance. There should be a good balance in job creation and job seeker. It's not that pushing everyone towards job creation. If the jobs are amazing, if the definition of jobs are amazing, then even having a job can be more interesting than creating a job. I have some friends in Tesla who tell me what kind of work and research and innovation they are doing there, and it's great, right? So uh, uh, but but yes, as you mentioned, that there should be a good between job creation and job seeking. And there is nothing wrong with the research, as I said. I don't think it has to be redefined. What has to be redefined is, again, as I said, the intention of the researcher. The intention of the researcher should not be get PhD for as a certificate or doing research papers just for publication. They should have a full goal of where the research can be. They should realize how their research can affect the whole society, and that is where the institution comes in. So the Betic Lab, I was not a part of Betic Lab when Betic Lab formed in IIT. I started my company, but I know what they're doing, and I have seen Stanford and many other labs. All the time what they do is they create an ecosystem where they can show application of the research. They don't just do research in the lab, but they always show application of the research. And of course, Betic IIT Bombay is also doing similar thing. So that is one thing. Well, when you create this Betic VNIT, what kind of things you can do? So first of all, I think so. I'm telling from my experience of going through a lot of incubators. So I was not in Betic, but I was in Sign IIT Bombay, which is a technology incubator. I was for a short time in Cambridge and stuff, where they also do technology commercialization, and then Y Combinator. So a few unique things I found is, first of all, medtech is very difficult. Even Y Combinator says that uh, there is no right ecosystem for medical technology entrepreneurship, even in Silicon Valley. So forget about India, and then even difficult for Nagpur, because it's not there in the world because of the same reason which I told earlier, that there is a long gap of in technology to product and product to market. About the gap is about clinical trial and the FDA. It takes a lot of time, lot of guts, lot of money, and nobody is ready to fund. And this is where institutes like your institute comes in. They can fund some of the development part. Then there are other institutions in India like BIRAC who are ready to fund clinical trials, and somehow government and institutions should help and support funding, or even through facilities. For example, even for clinical trial, you need facilities. If you have a 3D printed lab, that can help us to do clinical trials. Like so your focus is not on that market side when you are in the academic institute. Your focus is more on the product development side and helping them for clinical trials and probably guiding them for FDA. Once the students or the entrepreneur process that part, then they can raise funds and find path themselves. So your job is to kind of fill that gap or that valley of product development. There are another valleys of marketing and everything, but that is not the job of I don't think it's the job of entrepreneurs themselves, not the institute. And the institute should be totally away from the marketing part of the product. Second thing is when you select the you're putting a lot of investment on people, on researchers and on people who are going to have a startup. And it's not just students give up and go for a job. Even the startup founders can give up and leave everything. So you need to find a right founder when you fund. So this is where Y Combinator does very well. So they don't even look at the idea very carefully. They look at the founders very carefully. If the founder can take risks, if the founders are team players, if the founders can communicate their research and their product very well, if the founders can manage teams, if the founders have got to take a lot of risk and years of their life raising funds, talking about their product, developing their product, those are the right people. Even if the idea is wrong, a right founder can make the wrong idea into right idea. But if the idea is right and the founder is wrong, it won't work, right? So when you select the people, that is very important. What kind of people? It's a discussion in itself that how to select right people for the giving the support. But that is very important. Second thing is facilitators. So you have to find some really good facilitators, because so facilitators are different from academicians. They are different from startup founders. Their job is to facilitate, right? So there are some great managers, like Rupesh in Betic Lab is a very good facilitator, right? So you need to keep finding people like those, because it will be very difficult to manage so many startups in a very particular given timeline. So you need to keep finding great facilitators who can help these. And I suggest that the facilitators usually should be the people who have already gone through the medical technology startup. Successfully or with failure, doesn't matter. Even if they have failed or even if they had success, doesn't matter. But who has gone through the medical technology startup or entrepreneurship, those people should be selected facilitators, and that will help a lot. Third, I would say is third and last probably I would say is give people international exposure. So one thing I always see, and now it may have changed, but initially Betic Lab was mostly, NIT Bombay was mostly concerned about local need, local people, local surgeons. I believe that the moment your entrepreneur is ready, the moment the facilitator is ready, the moment your institute is ready, have international collaboration and push your students or entrepreneurs to go through the international competitions, pitching and collaborations. That will help a lot, because in India we don't have a competitive environment in medical technology, and you can find many people who are doing medical technology. But when you go in international platform, you will see a lot of people who are doing similar things, how they have solved big problems, and you can learn a lot from them, and you can get a lot of support also. Let's say if we take VNIT can tomorrow partner with Stanford Biodesign, who knows, right? So those kind of things, or Cambridge medical school or something like that. So those collaboration will help a lot. So these 3 points I would like to mention. There are obviously a lot of things. Probably we'll have another discussion for that, but these 3 important points I would like to say.
Yeah. Because see, ultimately, the people, those who are in the audience, they should get the advantage of our center once it is ready.
Sure.
Ultimately, what I realized is that to enter into the entrepreneurship, the research is important, no doubt about it. But rather, many of the people, those who are in the audience, they start thinking about, whether I should do first PhD and then enter into the entrepreneurship. Is it so? Or without PhD also I can be the entrepreneur? Because around 48% is audience is the students. Now they must be very stressed that okay, oh, I had to do then the first PhD, then again, then only I will become the entrepreneur and all that. I think in that scenario, what I feel that the student should be aware of the research from the patent point of view. They should understand the patenting properly. If they can understand it well, then they will realize this research is sellable or is patentable and all that. So the in higher institute of learning, at least what I have seen, leaving apart the IITs and other big institutes, the people are not aware of patenting very well.
Oh,
And
okay.
so once they start once they start their PhD work, then they go on rather thinking about the research papers to be published and all that, but they never look at the patent. And they publish the research papers, and then later on they found that, oh, I have published the research papers, I cannot patent this particular technology or the process or product, whatever it is. So ultimately, I think that aspect we'll have to take care. And some of the interesting points that I look at at Basic VNIT, if you look at the positive points, what I've seen that we are in a very good geographical location, the center of India. And Nagpur never witnessed any natural calamities anywhere, no flood, no earthquake, no excessive rains, no extreme cold. Hopefully, only the extreme temperature during the 2-3 months. But we can always use it nowadays with the solar power and all that, whatever it is. We do have very good educational hub. The education institutes, including technical and management institutes, turn out good number of graduates and postgraduates. So I think these all positive points will be of more interest to us. But then let me tell you some negative points also, which I have noted. I don't know how far that actually affects the whole thing. The first one is like the economy here is agriculture based economy, and hence the comfort zone is already decided by many people. Then secondly, there are very few industries and there's no job opportunities. Then the people, they keep the low aims and get satisfied very soon, and hence lethargic. I think maybe you can relate it with the first point which I told about the agriculture-based economy and all that. I think in that scenario, hopefully I have to rather go to the gym and see that my shoulders are now strong enough to see that I can bear the responsibility of all these things together of running this particular center. But what I realized, maybe I think you can think over it, the sustainability. Maybe I can start the center very well with all facilities that we do have and all that. But ultimately, in long run, I wish that the dream is like if somebody is frustrated because he has done very good research and finding it difficult to enter in the market. He is coming to us and we are guiding him and we are rather taking him to the heights. I think that is what the dream, at least I look at. So maybe with your 3 points, we may be in a position to rather look into this. Our center will be ready by June 2021. And as I already told you, that you will be the advisor to us always. We will be always coming to you, and that will be wonderful. Yeah. So because I think we have discussed a lot, and you have also given a very good suggestion. Let me check any questions from the participants on a chat box. It seems that there are a good number of questions. So let me see if there are good questions on the chat box. Ganorkar Vaibhav Pramod, he has asked, like, my single question to Dr. Vikas Karade sir is little more simplistic, but something I myself face every time begin a new venture. how do you conquer those moments of doubt that so often stifle or trip or stop so many entrepreneurs with great ideas? What pushes you through? Many times, silly doubts may backforce you. That's what he said. I hope, Vikas, can you see the chat box?
I see the chat box, but I don't see the questions.
That's the one which is asked by. If you can just look at this from the top, it is second or third. That okay.
Somehow I don't know. I don't see the questions. I'm sorry.
Okay, my single question to Dr. Vikas Karade sir is little more simplistic, but something I myself face every time I begin a new venture. He says that in a bracket, how do you conquer those moments of doubts that so often stifle or trip or stop so many entrepreneurs with great ideas? What pushes you through? Many times silly doubts may backforce you. Indirectly, he means, if I'm not wrong, that a silly doubt pushes them back and they don't enter into this domain of starting the company, something of that nature.
So yeah, it's a self-doubt kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's a character you have to build since the very beginning. You have to challenge yourself, and when you remember that there were challenges in your 50-50 sure that you will be, or more sure maybe, that you will be able to cross the next challenge also, right? So if you look at, so that's why you need to keep performing all the time great to self motivate.
Yes.
If you have failed in life, we just need to remember that you have tried something, you have started something. And I know that if you're a kind of PhD scholar now or PG scholar, you must have done a lot of things, not only career things, but a lot of personal things. You must have, I don't know, got into some fight, or you must be did something which is where you have to push your comfort zone and do something great. It can be hiking uh, 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 mountains or whatever. So if you just remember all those things, you will understand that okay, I am capable of taking the challenge ahead.
Yes.
And probably cross it. So never have that self doubt. And as I said that, in the first two question, I said that always create that safety net.
Yeah.
Always every time have a 2-year milestone, and create that milestone, get that milestone, cover that milestone, and that milestone becomes your safety net. If you start working like that, then you will never have that self doubt. And this is the reason I really don't like the idea when people say that, hey, live in present and don't think about future. Never worry about future. That is right, because future, you don't know what's going to happen in future, so don't worry about it. But always plan the future. At least the next 2-3 years, plan it, and every action you do now is going to impact that 2-3 years future. So always plan the future, live in the moment with the satisfaction that you're working towards the future, and every 2 years you will have that, and that will become your safety net. And then you will never, this self doubt will goes on decreasing as the life goes. So that's why I would answer this one.
Yeah. That means believe in yourself and fight with whatever the problems that comes in your mind.
Just
that's
somewhere, just start somewhere, and nothing done before, but just start somewhere. And once you cross it, this will goes on decreasing. This self-doubt goes on decreasing as you start doing things, even if you fail. So just start it. Don't think too much.
Yeah, that's true. And what I generally feel that taking the baby steps towards your goal, that always helps you a lot.
Yeah.
Rather than taking
Thinking about
maybe frog leaping or whatever you call it, leapfrog. Yeah. Maybe I think we'll wait for some more question, but till that time, I as a so-called audience, I wish to ask you some more questions. Because in every educational institute, now that's what exactly looking at the question that we are presently looking at, that the Institute of Higher Learning. So in every education institute, alumni who started the company based on his research should be considered as an outstanding alumni, rather than showing the alumni who is getting very big salary. I hope this will change the thought process of the students and they will be nurtured accordingly. What is your comment on this, Vikas?
Yeah, so so that is happening anyway, I guess, nowadays. For example, when we look back at IIT,
Yeah, maybe IITs it's okay, but in
okay,
other
okay,
institutes,
yeah, so
because
they
that's a
should, yeah,
small, in the IITs are small in
No,
numbers.
but even in IIT, it used to be the same. It used to be the same. We when we got into IIT, the role models we had to see were the people who got great job in McKinsey or BCG or JP
Yeah,
Morgan, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Now
yeah,
we
yeah.
see who has created Ola or who has created some other company. So it goes on changing, and very soon it will happen VNIT also, right? So one great alumni and actually there are already a lot of great alumni from VNIT. I was reading about someone in LinkedIn. He has a
Yeah.
great company in America, and he was from VNIT. I forgot the name,
Okay.
but yeah. So those examples should be. So I'm from Nagpur. I had to know about it from LinkedIn, right? So VNIT should already know it, and they should already publish that thing a lot. Yeah.
No, it is not about the only VNIT, but I think in general, any educational institute, especially those who are actually created an ecosystem for research. So they should say that, okay, this particular student is an alumni of our institute and he has
Yeah.
started his own company and he should be the role model. He should be always be shown to the students that, okay,
Yeah.
follow him. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that
If you do that
that thing
starting
is,
from the first year, that will really affect,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
within the 4 years, they keep forming their own goals. So, yeah, you're very right on that.
Yeah, because I have my own experience. When I was the head of the department, I used to chit chat with the students. Then I found that the students they start talking about the management courses right from second year onwards. I said that you have
Okay.
not learned even the mechanical engineering in total, and all of a sudden, how do you find the MBA more interesting? So then I realized that it is all the big fat salary and
Yeah,
Mercedes and
yeah.
all these things they only talk about, and they don't do they look at this. So I think then I realized that I should rather show them the models like, yeah, this fellow has started his company, and this is a lifelong achievement for him because it is not only limited to him but his whole generation. That's
Yeah,
what.
yeah, yeah. Not only
Yeah.
founders, but great scientists also. There are scientists from the colleges
Yes,
who go
yes.
to MIT, Stanford, and do a lot of great things. MBA is a
Yeah.
waste. I personally believe MBA is a waste. They do nothing.
At least the students, those who are
They're
listening to that, I think
yeah,
they should.
these MBA people are kind of polluting everything in innovation and disruption and
Yeah,
science and
yeah,
everything. And so this MBA is a waste.
yeah, yeah.
Sorry if
And
anyone got hurt. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Sorry, it's not like that. Rohit Bhande has asked a question that recently he said that recently I read an article which stated, according to the World Intellectual Property Organization report, on an average, 4 of every 10 applications made by Indians abroad fetch a patent, while it's only 1 in 10 in India. Sir, what is your advice on this? Vikas, have
Yeah.
you understood the means? Have you listened to the
I have
question?
a question actually. I see the question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So
Yeah.
on average, 4 of every 10 will make made by Indians abroad fetch a patent. Okay. Well, it's only one in. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's because of the same thing which you just said. They don't know about patenting or research, right? They don't know. It's not about patenting the research. They don't even know that this research can be commercialized and made into the business. So that awareness is not very high here. So what you said earlier is very right. If we follow that, I think our ratio will be much higher.
Oh, yes, great. I personally feel that
Yeah.
the those who are in the PhD or the such type of the research oriented courses, and if they found that this research is something innovative and all that, they should first file the what is called as a preliminary specification. And
Yeah. Yeah.
once they file that, I think they can now publish the paper and whatever it is. I think that
Yeah.
will help them to file the patent. Otherwise, what happens, like they publish the papers, sometimes they go to the media indicating that this is what they have done and all that, and then then such things cannot be patented. So I think that is very important.
I think that, I mean, so yeah, from your point of view, it's right that more people should, but ultimately what happens is, even if it's published, we can still take it ahead and commercialize it through one way or the other way, because the patent which is published just after research is never good enough for making a complete product which will be useful. So even if it is published, you can file more important. So we filed a patent when I was doing research. Now we have other 4 patents which are much more important than the first patent, and we don't worry that if the first patent is not there or not. So it's more important that work towards that research more, and further you can definitely file patents.
Yeah, that's true. I think the whole procedure of patenting and everything should be clear to everybody. And that's the reason that the Indians are not filing more and more patents. And
the whole process of commercialization should be actually told, not just patent, but the whole process of commercialization, which is where your institute will actually help a lot of people.
Yes. I think even we in the proposed Basic Center, I think we need to rather look into that aspect carefully. Dr. Praveen Tivade, he has asked, like, how research correlate with brainstorming according to our thoughts.
I didn't get that question, honestly.
He means to say, hopefully, if I'm not wrong, like whether the brainstorming is the research or something. Praveen Tivade, can you just unmute yourself and ask this question properly? Bhupesh and Subodh, can you just give him the access for unmute and just would like to know, Dr. Praveen? Dr. Praveen, can you hear?
Sir, brainstorming means thoughts becoming innovation or research. So how correlated with research? Any research, technical research, any type of research.
So brainstorming is so it's a process where
brainstorming is a technical term which will helpful to research.
Sure, I understood. So it's a process where multiple brains come together, share ideas, and you create a new idea, right? So maybe you're asking that how that can help research. Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
To research, So so mainly in the applied research, which Betic lab when Prof. Kuthe started, in those kind of research, brainstorming can help really a lot, especially in medtech. Actually, when you create an idea and do a research on it, or even product development on it, always get surgeons, industry people, researchers, everyone together, and the idea gets refined. So I would say in any idea creation, actually brainstorming definitely correlates. But in medtech situation, we forget to include, surgeons and doctors. So we need to consider them also in brainstorming. So it's good. It does correlate to research as well.
Yeah, and I would like to add something related to this brainstorming. For fruitful brainstorming, if we can follow some technical path like the Arshula theory or bionics and all that, I think then in that case the brainstorming becomes fruitful. Otherwise, what happens, like it's like all too many cooks spoil the broth, like that. So everybody is putting his idea and nothing is coming out of that. So
that happens actually.
So in that case, I think I found this trees technique or the Arshula theory very, very effective. Like especially the contradiction matrix, or even
so there should be some analytical method supporting to the brainstorming to actually get out of it.
It's like bringing an objectivity into the subjectivity. Otherwise, brainstorming becomes more of a subjective in nature, and it becomes really difficult to then come out with some research-oriented idea.
Very right, actually. I'm glad you brought that point.
Yes. Secondly, the question from Advait is that, is there any ideal path of starting any startup if we have our idea ready after completing our education? He meant to
For,
say
for
some
medical
idea.
technology,
Hopefully, he's talking about any idea uh, which. Yeah.
phone is unmute. Can you mute it? So
Oh,
I
yeah.
actually can't hear what's happening.
Yeah, okay. I'll do that. Yeah. 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 You can ask. I'm muted. Yeah. Oh, 1 minute.
No, it's quite actually. It's fine. I guess. Yeah.
It's fine.
So,
Okay, Vikas, can you? Yeah.
yeah. Now it's quite. So it's okay. So there is no ideal path, but if you're talking about medical technology, uh, so for Indian scenario, I would say for medical technology, first thing is just like Professor Kuthe said that find whether your research is patentable or not. That you have to do, that exercise you should do while doing your education. While doing your education, and now education institute supports you when you file the patent, and even if they don't support, as Professor mentioned, you can always file this
Provisional specification.
provisional patent, which
Specification.
as individual, if you file it cost I think 1,000 or something. So or maybe even less. So, and even for that also government helps now. There are grants from Department of Biotechnology where they do it. So I'm telling you specifically from medical technology point of view. So that is first thing you should do while being a student. Another important thing you should do is find a team. In fact, that's the most important thing. Find a team while being a student. Why I'm always saying that while being a student is because that's how I do it. I plan the thing a year ahead so that I'm very clear about what I need to do in next year, right? So all of this, for example, our startup we planned in February 2015. I found my co-founder in February 2015, Amit Maurya.
Great.
And with him, I planned for the whole year, and I've gone through all those competition while we had no startup. And then in 2016, we raised the funding and then started the company. So think ahead, at least 6 months ahead.
Yeah.
Team first. Team is very important. Find a great co-founder for you who can complement your talent. So, for example, if you are good in coding, then that guy may be good in manufacturing. If you are good at technology, that guy might be good at marketing or raising funds or communicating. Those kind of complementing team members you have to find right before, not after starting a company, but 1 year before. Discuss with them what you want to do in the startup in that whole 1 year while doing your education. So my PhD started in 2011. I finished all my PhD work in 2013, but I took my PhD submission on 2015. So 2 years I was doing nothing but just forming team and going through competitions. And thanks to Professor Ravi, he allowed me to do that.
Yeah.
So that's so if you get that kind of support, yes, do it 1 year earlier. Find a team first. Know if your idea is patentable. Find out the funding resource right then. Right in that last year of your education. If you're a PhD, then last year of your PhD. Find that funding resource right away. Mostly direct funds, medical technology, or you can find angel investor, which is the most difficult probably in Nagpur, but maybe government fundings you can take, or maybe you can join hands with Betic, compete there, and Betic might help you for first few years of product development. While doing the product development, then you plan for the next goal, 1 year ahead. Once you get the funding from Betic or support from Betic, you'll be working there for 1 year, but you will plan for the next year that after Betic, how would you survive? What would you do? So I'm talking about just the starting one. Later you have to keep doing it. Plan ahead 1 year and do it. But I'm just telling about how you start it. Okay? So I hope that helps if it's about medical technology.
Yeah, that's nice. I think the one of the interesting starting point is that there is a thought in your mind that you have to start the company. If you can, that's what I think I can say to answer to this particular question. Like the one of the idea in ideal path is that the thought has come in your mind that yes, you have to start a company. You are entering into the startup. Otherwise, every time thinking about the job, somewhere I will do the job or where I'll get the job and all that. I think that actually is kills everything.
Yeah, and what happens is that thought process which you just said, that itself
Yeah.
takes months.
Yes.
If you have another team co-founder, if you have a co-founder right before, 6 months before starting a company, you will at least feel not alone. And then
Yes.
your decision to start it will be much easier. If I was alone, probably I would be much scared. But since I found Amit in February and he was ready, I was ready. So for that whole year, we were preparing ourselves that are we really doing it? How would we do it? So that's how you have to, I think you can plan.
Yes. And because what I said earlier, like in the ecosystem, that
Yes, sir.
the person who has already launched the company based on the research, they are the role model to them right from the first year. So they will always be interacting with them, and in that
Yeah.
sense, that will definitely help.
From
Yeah.
institute side, yeah.
Yes, that's really. Shirish Tiwari is just asking, may I unmute myself to ask question? Yes, you can. Can you just, Bhupesh and Sarod, can you just unmute Shirish Tiwari? He would like to ask the question. Shirish
Hello,
Tiwari.
sir.
Yes,
Hello,
yes.
Abhay, sir. Hello, Vikas,
Yes,
sir.
Yellow.
Sir, first let me introduce myself. I am Shrish Tiwari from GH Raisoni College of Engineering in Nagpur,
Okay.
and right now I'm pursuing my third year of engineering.
Okay.
So I'm also an incubatee in my GHRT PEIF, which
Okay.
is I have a startup and I'm doing lots of projects in it. And right now, I'm really dedicated to my projects, and I will get lots of funding, which is like 3 to 4 lakhs. I will be getting fundings, and my projects will take more than 2 years for the completion.
Yeah.
But the
Okay.
thing is, the campus
Yeah.
selection will become. Campus will come, and I have an interview with the HRs. So what should I do? I should go for the campus selection, or I should just go to the startups and do whatever I wish. I want projects and all. It's really
I
very
want.
confusing.
Yeah, I can't answer that question, and I can't answer that question on your behalf. You have to decide. You have to
Yeah.
decide what you want to do. I
Shirish,
can't force you towards any side. I like startup
yes.
doesn't mean I would say everyone has to do a startup. So it's up to you. But last thing you had a last option which you just said that should I do whatever I wish. So I would say yes, do that. Just do whatever you wish. Yeah, you will find a path anyway. But always one thing I can definitely suggest. Since you have options, rather than seeing that what you're choosing, also analyze what you're losing, right? So whenever you choose something, you're also losing other options. So you have to kind of analyze properly what would you lose in any whatever you choose. So just do it very well, and whatever you wish, then you do it, and don't regret. If tomorrow if you don't like
Yeah.
your job, you will definitely leave. I found a job after IIT, and in 2 months I got bored. I just left. I just stopped going. That was a very unethical way of leaving a job, but I just stopped going. And I
Okay.
started something else. I started research, right? So just do whatever you want.
Yeah,
Okay, sir.
that's
Thank you
nice.
so much.
Yeah. Ashish Yadav has asked, sir, how to manage the team selection duration, idea explanation, and brainstorming among the selected candidates for our team, then going ahead with our idea before our idea becomes obsolete in market.
When you mean team, you mean employees or a co-founder? Can Ashish tell us? Is he talking about co-founder or is he talking about employees?
Ashish Yadav,
Co-founder. Okay, he said co-founder. Okay.
okay.
Okay. So there is a difference in selecting a team. Selecting a co-founder like marrying someone. Okay, when you so whatever applies to finding a right wife or a husband, the same thing applies to the co-founder,
Great.
except the personal stuff.
Great.
So I think that answers everything. I don't need to get into details,
Yeah.
but this is what matters. If you are married, you know it very well. If you're not married, then ask your parents. So
I think that's the right answer you have
because
given.
yeah.
Yeah, because your co-founder if at all, even if you don't agree with him, see that you tell him that this is not possible, and maybe you can just tell him that this is the problem that we may face in long run because of this
Yeah.
particular decision and all. I think we have to be open. That reminds me the interview wherein the Infosys chairman Murthy has been asked. They said that, okay, I look at my employees as a good resource for giving me the frank and free feedback, because they are my teachers. They actually help me in learning everything. So I think co-founder has to be look like that.
Yeah, so co-founder is like, you're going to stay with co-founder for like years. Your startup journey is 20, 30 years. You're going to stay with them. You have to, so just like you will stay with your wife, right? You have to, you will have a lot of ideas, differentiation. You will have to, your startup is your baby, your co-founder should treat your startup as their own baby also. You should have equal responsibility, self-initiative stuff. Whatever a wife should do or a husband should do, a co-founder should do for the startup. Right? So that's how you have to look at it.
Yeah, and we will never divorce our wife. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think questions are almost over. It seems maybe I think I will ask some quick queries to Vikas.
Sure.
Like Vikas, do you support a separate postgraduate degree in startup in educational system?
You mean postgraduate degree for learning about startup? No, I don't agree. No, because why I think like that. There's a reason. I used to think like that. That why MBA grads don't teach this. Why IITs don't teach this and all. And now many IITs and MBA colleges are teaching also. Even Harvard, even Harvard is teaching, but they failed, miserably failed. And so I kind of analyzed this thing when I went to Y Combinator in Silicon Valley. And I realized that there is no set curriculum, talent, skill, or knowledge you can transfer to a person to change the world. That's how it is. Startups are there to change the world. They create innovation, they create disruption, and it is always out of the box. They always invent something new which never happened before. So training to be founder is actually almost not possible. You can't train a founder. You can't train someone to become a founder. You can only motivate them towards a goal, that this is something you need to create in the world, but you can't train them to become a founder. So and so I got into this thought after going through many ecosystems. I have been to China for 6 months. I have been there in their startup ecosystem. I was in Cambridge, I was in Stanford, even Silicon Valley. My company is now a Silicon Valley company. We have realized this thing, that there is no way you can teach someone that, and what will happen, I tell you, what will happen is when you make it as a degree, people will do the same thing which people are doing with the master's degree or a PhD degree. They will just take the degree for the sake of degree. And they will do nothing. So that is going to happen.
That is true.
So institute can try doing that, but I can guarantee it will not succeed. And it has been failed in Harvard already.
Oh, great!
Of course, Harvard is one of the best ones, where they have some success stories also. But it's Harvard,
Yeah, that's
but
true.
Still, they also claim that it's not possible to create a founder or an enterprise.
Yes, that's true. Really, very nice. I was always thinking like whether we should start up, because like the way I have seen, like it is a 10% research and 30% is deployment. And the 60% is application. So I thought that then this 60% is not very clear to the people when they do actually research. So why should not teach them that 60% and all that?
You can tell them that how their research can become something to help the community. How can it becomes a business? How it can be commercialized? But you don't need to keep a set curriculum and a course structure for it, or give a certification for it. Because again, I'm saying in India, people will do it. Anywhere, people will just do it as a now startup is a kind of hawa, it's a big word in the world. So
Yes,
सब लोग आ
yes,
जाएंगे आपका कोर्स करने के लिए, लेकिन कोई कुछ उसके बाद करेगा नहीं, वो कोर्स लेके वो फिर जॉब करने जाएगा.
oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
that is
That is true. That is true. Uh, Secondly,
yes,
Vikas, this is a very odd question, but still, I wish to ask you to
please,
keep me free. Like
yeah.
any other solution to unemployment of research-oriented graduates or postgraduates other than this startup?
Unfortunately, right now, this is the only way where you can take your research in as a to get some finance, because
Yeah.
there are no companies in India who are,
Hmm.
or there are very few. I mean, forget about medical technology, even in normal technology,
Yes.
there are very few who actually do real research and build something and sell here. You can do it, but you have to take it forward abroad. So if your research is valuable, John Hopkins would love to take it and commercialize it. Or Stanford would love to take it if the founder has or the researcher has the capability, and they are already doing it, right? Great PhDs and researchers from here are going there, creating businesses there, creating finance there, creating employments there. Here it is difficult in industries. The only way you can do it is take your own risk and create your own innovation center in a form of startup, and
Yeah.
create jobs. So right now, I feel like that. That's the only way.
Yeah, because see, in many education institutes, what they generally say that okay, PG students they don't find any placement and all that and all that. So I always used to think over it, like how far our industries are upgraded
Huh.
to employ these PG students or the PhD students. I have seen that is something different in the European context. There
Yeah,
I found that a good number of industries they employ the PhD
yeah,
students.
yeah,
But here in India, that system is still not possible.
yes,
And we are
yeah,
now producing more and more postgraduate or the PhD students. So I think then
yeah.
startup is the only way by which they can take their research
Yeah.
wherein they will create
If
some
yeah,
case of
if they
earning.
have if they have a genuinely great research, and if they are
Yes,
genuinely great researchers, I mean, I'm talking about the quality here. So if they
yes,
really have great quality research and researchers, and then finding research opportunity in India in industries very limited.
yes.
But what will happen is if they create startups, then the
Mhm.
startups will give more opportunities to other researchers. For example, now we are looking for a researcher who can do computer simulation, right? So that can happen. So that's the only way right now for country like India, or go abroad.
Yeah, I think then our title of the symposium is right that everyone has to engineer his research for the startup. That is very important. Yeah. One more, maybe the final question from my side, and hopefully
Sure.
there are no questions from the audience also. I believe that the PhD supervisor should help the PhD students when he or she demands it. In this world of internet, PhD students may not face any difficulty in technical or in academic matter. What is needed is the infrastructure to conduct the experiments and oblique or the data generation for decision making.
Yeah.
Making available the infrastructure to PhD students is the primary duty of PhD supervisor. Hope you agree, and how you fit this in refers to startup. I'm sorry, it's a long question.
In fact, yeah. No, it's a
Yeah.
very important question. This is what should happen to you. That the duty of the PhD supervisor, and I'm no one to tell any PhD supervisor what's their duty. I'm not a professor, but I learned from my professor, and maybe I can put a little word about him. So this is how it should be. Their job is to provide facility,
Yeah.
not to get into knowledge available everywhere.
Yes.
As you said,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
it's it's very easy. In fact, if you free them in their research, they get more motivated.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
If you give that research freedom, they will take chances for the startup or the next step also by themselves. these young kids, and when I was also young, and I'm a young now as well, but so when someone when someone keep on guiding,
Yes.
then you kind of sometimes lose the interest. And I'm not saying that guiding is wrong. It's just the attitude the young kids have. They have a lot of ego and kind of things, and it is
Yes.
good to have that ego. Sometimes that ego pushes them to do great stuff. So, but
Yes.
they should be given freedom. If you give them freedom, it's a very difficult task to give student a freedom. Sometimes it feels like इसको freedom दे दिया तो ये तो सर पे चढ़ जाएगा. It happens. But
Yeah. Yeah.
once you try it, a person with right intention actually take that freedom into responsibility, and they do a lot of great stuff. And that's what I think happened between me and my professor. Of course, I'm just a beginner. I have to do a lot of things in my life, but I think that's what happened between me and my professor. He gave me a lot of freedom, and I had a great intention. So with his guidance about what a PhD should be or where the research should go, learning from that motivation, I got inspired, and I think I took it forward. And his job is to just facilitate. And in that facilitation terms, he has done a great job, creating a lot of funding, lot of. I mean, he gone above his I would not say capacity, but above his rules and regulations to facilitate me. So when I left my job and I wanted to do PhD, I had no money, and PhD stipend was not very high. So
Yes.
he got extra projects for me so that I can contribute in his some extra projects and earn some extra honorarium. That's the level of support, freedom, and facilitation he gave, because of which I think I could do something.
Yeah.
So you are very right in that term when you just said. So I totally agree with what you just said.
Yeah, because let me tell you my experience also. Like as a PhD guide, when I say that I had to provide the infrastructure or maybe to be the facilitator of the student, I know how many paperworks and how many problems I had to face. And once you do it, the students they get excited very much the way you said, and then they do wonders. So I ultimately the all PhD supervisors, I think many of them are actually in our audience also. I think they should look at this, because ultimately when you want our student to enter into this startup domain, naturally you have to see that his research should also should get executed in that fashion. So
But I also stress,
yeah.
but I also stress on the point that the student should also have a right intention. Okay, so there have been students in our lab also when I was in IIT
Yeah.
with Professor
Yeah.
Ravi who had different intentions. So Professor Ravi is not sad about it. He just focuses his facilities and his guidance towards the people more who
Yeah.
are more having great intentions or motivation. So it's a job of a student side to create that good ecosystem. So
Yeah.
both together can do wonders.
That's what actually I ask you from startup point of view. Like
Sure.
the job of the PhD supervisor is to see that quality is for quality research. They should provide the good infrastructure,
Yeah.
and they should
Right.
work hard to provide that, rather than unnecessarily entering into the zone where the through internet the students can always get the solutions.
Exactly.
Like basically,
Yeah.
yeah.
Very
So I think the questions from the audience is over, and even our time is also approaching. That is getting to the end. I think there is no more questions from the audience side, so I think that's fine. And let me then show you the slide of extending thanks to all of you, especially Dr. Vikas, for a very nice discussion. I loved this very much, and I'm going to hear it again so to see that whatever you have said about your experience and whatever the guidance we get it from you, because ultimately, as I already said to you, there will be a lot of responsibility on our shoulder when we are entering into this particular area of creating an ecosystem. And I hope that's the need of an hour. So even if it is problematic, I think we'll have to enter, and we'll have to see that the society in general gets benefited. So thanks, Dr. Vikas, for your uh, time that you have spent in spite of busy schedule everywhere. And I know you are very busy, but your suggestion, your advice will definitely help not only me, but the audience also. That's what exactly I'm giving one. Actually, I'm putting one more point here in this slide. The thanks in advance to all the participants for their feedback. So I'm expecting the feedback from the participant today itself for whatever the session we have conducted. And also I'm expecting them to send the question for the crossfire event that we are going to conduct on March 5. I hope we had a very nice and quality time. Dr. Vikas, be in touch with us. We would like to remain connected with you forever. And as I already told you, that you will be the advisor for us in long run. So thank you very much. I'm going to now end the meeting here.